Space Dandy Season 2, Episode 8, A World with No Sadness, baby. This was a really interesting episode. It kind of gets in your head. It's one of those episodes. It was almost like uh, one of those types of movies where it's just really in your head. It talks about death and accepting it, and someone who doesn't want to be dead, but they go through a short little experience and they kind of accept it by the end of things. And that's what happened in this episode. At least that's how I interpreted it, because Dandy wasn't alive on the ship with QT and Meow. He was in like the suit at the end of the episode with the girl who was I guess the world of Limbo personified, and the two, I guess, creatures that he kind of met in the beginning of the episode. But I really enjoyed this episode. It wasn't what I thought it was. I thought that initially they just crashed on this planet and it seemed like he was dead, but he really wasn't. Especially when they mentioned that the world was called Limbo. I thought it was going to end up being that they just crashed on this planet and everyone thought that they were dead because there was just no way off, or it was just somehow the planet kept you alive. It was like Limbo, but it was just you crashed on the planet and everyone just assumed they were dead, but it actually is a place where you go when you die. So it was a really interesting episode, and then he had to kind of figure out what happened to him, and he went through the experience realizing he was dead. And by the end of the episode, even though it seemed like he wanted to go back, I guess it's kind of the last line he gave where it's like, I just realized that no matter where I am, I'm still pretty dandy. I guess that was kind of him realizing, I don't have to go back. I'm okay here. And that's why at the end of the episode, he was on the little train card and all the characters went to meet him at the little platform. But I really enjoyed the episode. It wasn't super funny. It had its funny moments and stuff. There was no like really big thing that happened where Dandy found his way off the planet or found a way to actually survive or anything like that. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode. We didn't get to see much of QT and Meow except for sort of the little bits and pieces of the flashback, and they of course just thought he was asleep at the end of the episode. But I enjoyed it. The characters that Dandy came across were fairly interesting. Came across like the living motorcycle thing, the one guy who was like almost kind of buff, and it freaked him out. I thought he was gonna like try to eat Dandy or something because that's just how he seemed. He really reminded me of Beast from X-Men with the way he was talking, because he said things. He was very articulate, and he said things like a lot fancier than he really needed to say them. So he just his size and the way he spoke, it really made me think of Beast from X-Men, which is probably weird, but I don't know if you guys got the same feeling too from that character. But he was interesting. The girl who was Limbo personified, I feel like she has to have been based off of the character from Dead Man Wonderland. The girl, I think her name was Shiro, if I remember right. She looked just like her to me. Like, she looks a little different, but like the outfit that she wears is very similar to Shiro's. She had like the long hair and stuff, and it just every time I saw her, I thought about Dead Man Wonderland. I thought about Shiro, because I feel like she has to have been influenced by that character's design, because that's what she looked like. We also got the two people that were talking at the table. I thought they were going to be important, but they were just it was just almost like an existential conversation about life and death, and, you know, everyone gets to live, but death is our true destiny type of thing. And then the woman was like cracking off piece by piece. I thought she was going to shatter because she was dying, and she was like, if you feel like dying doesn't make a difference, then why don't you just kill yourself now? Because she was about to die, and it seemed like he was changing his mind and stuff. It was kind of one of those weird moments. I thought they were important, but they really weren't. And I guess they kind of were. It's like I said, it was just world stuff. I guess I don't know. It's hard to explain. But they had the scene with those two characters. Then they had Dandy go to the bar, and there was like the giant creature talking to all the little things that for some reason had like human hands, and they look like Slowpoke from Pokemon or something. But I enjoyed that part. Like, I couldn't honestly, with them singing together, because it was like a chorus type of thing. I honestly couldn't get most of what they were saying. And I enjoyed how it sounded, but honestly, I could hardly make out the words because it was layered. I think it was layered a little too much for me to understand what they were saying most of the time, because it would just be like, it would sound like it was just a note because there are so many of them talking. It wouldn't sound like an actual word. It would be like, when you have like 10 things start like 0.1 second apart, eventually they just blend together, and it's just like, and that's all it sounds like to me. But I did enjoy that part. They were singing their stuff, but like I said, I couldn't honestly pick out most of the stuff they were saying because it was all just compounded together. But I definitely enjoyed the episode. It was really cool. It was a really cool ending. I was glad it ended the way it did, where it ended and they kept the music going because I really wanted it to keep going, and it didn't kind of just cut to the normal ending that the episode has, which would have been way too upbeat for the ending being so calm and stuff when you're watching it, and then it just goes like to the typical ending. So I was really glad that it ended with that same song. Um, I think we got quite a few songs actually. We had the people singing, we had the song at the end, we had the little guitar riff from the woman, which was actually my favorite part. I really like that song. I wish that song was much longer. When Danny was actually getting chased, I like that one. I like both versions that she did, but I like the second one a lot better because it was a bit upbeat. I just really liked the riff that she was doing. But all the little songs that we got, they weren't like the big ones that we get in most episodes like this. So in this one, I think this was the first time we actually got multiple small songs, but I enjoyed it. Um, I mean, there's not really much else to say. I enjoyed the episode. Excited for next week's. It seems like next week's episode is definitely gonna go back to the more typical Space Dandy stuff with him in a crazy disco dance competition. But I definitely enjoyed this episode. It wasn't what I thought. I didn't expect him to actually be dead, but it was just a good episode. It had a really sort of interesting ending. Like, why did he choose that? It's one of those things where it leaves you thinking, like, why did he choose to stay when he had the option to go back to his life? What's he gonna do now? All that type of stuff, and then it's just to be continued, and it's just gonna be ignored for the rest of the series. But I enjoyed the episode. Of course, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And since I think this was the first episode where we did have like three separate little songs, if you had to pick one of the songs out of the episode, which would you say is your favorite? Because mine was definitely the second guitar riff. But what's your favorite song that came out of this episode? And of course, what you guys think about it in general? Thanks for watching.